Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Steve. Does anyone notice that there's a double standard going on right now in the NBA, and it is absolutely positively ridiculous? Everyone gets on any superstar's case when they don't win an NBA championship. Chris Paul, Carmelo Anthony, when they're not on dominant teams, everyone gets on their case because they didn't win the championship, and Melo hasn't made the playoffs in 3 years, but that's because his team's ass. Without him, they're like 0-10 each season, and Chris Paul the same. Well, his team's not that bad, but still. But the thing is, the double standard with Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant has yet to win an NBA championship, and he's played with Russell Westbrook for the past, 6 years, 7 years? And Russell Westbrook is one of the best players in the NBA. Now, I know one of those seasons, obviously, they both got injured, so we'll say 6 years instead of 7. So he had 6 years with one of the best players in the world, but yet somehow he still has yet to win an NBA championship. But the thing is, if that were Carmelo Anthony, he would get crucified by the media. And that's a fact. He would get crucified by the media. And forget that I mentioned about Chris Paul, because the media likes Paul. Let's just talk about Melo and KD, right? And, people say, oh, Kevin Durant's the second best player in the world, which I do agree with. He is. But the thing is it's like, how the hell can you be the second best player in the world and you have a team with one of the top 5 players in the world and you are yet to win an NBA championship? How does that even make sense? I know, they faced LeBron and Dwyane Wade and Chris Bosh, those 3 dominant players in 2012, but, I mean, come on, dude. Are you kidding me? You've yet to win an NBA championship. I understand the Spurs, when Tim Duncan, they were dominant, and, then they had the Warriors, but you gave up a 3-1 lead to the Golden State Warriors, And I'm not saying they would have beat Cleveland, because I don't think any team could beat Cleveland right now, just because LeBron is just, what he's doing is ridiculous. But, it's just like, it doesn't make sense, man. He had Serge Ibaka, he had Russell Westbrook, and a whole bunch of great role players. I'm pretty sure he had Enes Kanter, too. And for everyone that likes to talk about advanced stats, I'm pretty sure like 4 out of their 5 starters were top 10 in PER last season, which is ridiculous. And it's just like, okay, what the hell is going on, man? No one's talking about this, but they want to talk about Melo not even making the playoffs with a garbage team, and they crucify him, which I understand because everyone has Melo to a really high expectation because of the draft he was in and things like that. But at the same time, if you're going to call someone the second best player in the world and then they play with a top 5 player, at least make the NBA Finals. He hasn't even made the NBA Finals in 4 seasons. 4 seasons, that's a really long time. 4 years without even making the NBA Finals. Are you kidding me? And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, if that were LeBron, he would get crucified. If that were Carmelo, he already gets crucified. But if that were Carmelo on that team, he would get crucified. If that were Kobe, he would get crucified. But for some reason, Kevin Durant is not getting crucified. So to me, that doesn't make sense at all. It just, it just doesn't make sense at all, because it's like he had such a good team, and he couldn't even get out of the West. He gave up a 3-1 lead. And you can't even compare that to LeBron back in 2008, 2009, or 2009-10, or 7-8, because, first of all, if you want to compare that to LeBron made it to the finals and put up record numbers against the Detroit Pistons. Yeah, he got swept against the Spurs, but who even thought the Cavs were going to make it out of the West, the East? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, that was a garbage team with a superstar on it, one good player. And the same thing with Dwyane Wade. If you want to compare him to these superstars, and if you really want to go in depth, you start to question how good he really is. Because if you think about Dwyane Wade was young at the time. He didn't have a great team. He had some aging stars, Shaquille O'Neal, an aging all-star in Gary Payton. But, I mean, come on. Dwyane Wade averaged 35 points per game in their finals. So if you want to compare him to these players, look at Kobe. So if you want to compare him to these players, at least those players, when they had good teams, or even when they had bad teams, made the finals. You know what I'm saying? Like Kobe, at least he made the finals 3 years in a row when he had Pau Gasol. He only won 2 out of 3, but he still went 3 years in a row. You only went once with one of the best players in the world and one of the best defensive big men in the world and one of the best developing big men in the world, Enes Kanter and Serge Ibaka as one of the best defensive big men. So it's like, what's going on there, But no one talks about that. Everyone's just like, oh yeah, we love KD. Now everyone hates him. But I'm talking about before he went to Golden State. It's like, you hold everyone else to these high expectations, and then you call Kevin Durant the second best player in the world, but you don't hold him to the same expectations you hold Melo to, or you hold Dwyane Wade to, or LeBron, or Kobe. So that, or Michael Jordan even. Michael Jordan got crucified by the media too before he even went deep in the playoffs. Same thing with Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. So it's like, so if you're gonna talk about that, and then you start to really question, like, is he really as good as he says, as we can see, and I think he is, but it's sometimes you have to question it because put LeBron on that team with Westbrook, or put Dwyane Wade on that team with Westbrook, or Carmelo on that team, or Michael Jordan on that team, or Magic on that team, or Larry Bird, and I guarantee you they go into the finals. I guarantee it. Melo made the Western Conference Finals with Chauncey Billups as his point guard, forced a Game 6 against who would win the NBA championship that year, the Los Angeles Lakers. And then, we had Kobe 3 years in a row. We had, with Pau Gasol, who was one of the best players in the world at the time. We had LeBron make it to the finals with scrubs on his team, right? And then we had LeBron, going to the NBA finals fucking 6 years in a row, man. 6 years in a row. That's crazy. And then you had Michael Jordan go to the finals 3 years in a row, and then 3 years in a row after, and then Magic and Bird, and if you compare them to these players, it's like, wait a minute, man. You gotta be you gotta think a little deeper than that. Is he really as good as everyone says he is? But anyway, I still think he's the second best player in the world at this moment, but sometimes I kind of doubt how good he really is in comparison to those players I just mentioned, to be in the same breath as them. Anyway, I'm out of here. Let me know what y'all think. Peace.